I was just talking at dinner with my mother-in-law and husband the other night, wondering how people who work full-time keep the home. Like, when are they doing the things that take me pretty much all week to accomplish? And maybe it's me, maybe it's just the bandwidth that I have or do not have. I don't know. But I just really enjoy taking my time during the week to accomplish the things that I want to accomplish, plus the things that need to be done to keep the home relatively tidy, keep it running, keep food on the table. It requires all week for me. And I've been thinking about that lately and just realizing that what I want to do for my family, which is to provide healthy, nourishing meals and a cozy, warm environment where we can just relax and feel at ease, and that just requires so much time. There's something that I have to prep every day, even if it's not super difficult. It's just taking, the 5 minutes here or there to do it. And the more that I've been home, the more that I realize, which is ironic, as I'm saying it requires time, there are things that don't actually require that much hands-on time, but it requires me to feel at peace and slow and regulated, to think through what needs to be done and to prioritize, and that requires time. So I think it's kind of like a backwards situation. I don't know how else to articulate it. Here I am working on a couple of batches of biscuit dough. I'm going to be making another homestead pie. One is for a neighbor of ours and then one is for us. I'm trying to get my family used to whole grains. I've been doing it for a while, but if you know anything about switching to freshly milled flour, it is a lot different of a result. And we are also used to, the bread products that are in the store. Personally, I don't mind the whole grain product. Like, I will eat it even if it's super dense. It doesn't really bother me. But I know that for a lot of people, it's a really big change. So for the biscuits, I did half and half. I did a cup of all-purpose flour and a cup of whole grain, freshly milled. And I actually really like how they turned out. I'd like to lessen the amount of all-purpose as time goes by. But I make certain things just straight freshly milled, like waffles. Waffles are a great one because you can't really tell. You top it with so many things that I feel like you just can't really tell. But there are some things that definitely seem so much different, and it just changes the experience of eating for people. So when I make the homestead pie for other people, I just use all-purpose entirely. And then for us, like I said, I did half and half. And I really like how they turned out. So maybe you're not like me. Maybe you are super extroverted and you're able to get out of the house every single day. You feel like you can still keep up with things at home. Maybe none of this applies to you. That is okay. However, I find socializing to be important and I enjoy it and we do it, but I do find that there is definitely a limit. I have to be home a lot more than I am out to really feel like I am on top of things, to feel like I have the bandwidth and the margin to be the mom and the wife that I want to be and to tend to the home the way that I want to. And I'm learning, especially now that I have more than one child, that it just requires time. And even though I'm here and I'm tending to the things, there's always still a bit of a mess in one way or another because small children make messes. That's just what they do. So I have had to learn to look around and think, okay, what are the priorities for today? What absolutely needs to get done? What doesn't matter if I don't get to it? And then if there's anything, left over beyond that, beyond the duties and the priorities, then I can do those things. But I have just found that staying home a lot more and just kind of accepting that it requires that time has made everything better. Everybody feels much more at peace. Everybody's like not rushing. I can always feel it when we go for a weekend trip. My parents have a lake cabin and we go there and it's so much fun, but when we are getting ready to go, and then when we come back, I'm like, oh my goodness, we definitely can't do that every weekend because it's just so much to pack everything up and be out of our environment where we have everything that we need. And it's, I've been like organizing it in a way that really works for us, and then when you're out of that, it just can be really disorienting. I got a bunch of apples from Azure Standard, like I shared in a recent video, and I've been finding fun things to do with them. So this is a recipe that I just found on Pinterest. I will share it below. These turned out so delicious. I am absolutely going to make these on repeat, and it'll be something great to make this fall too. But they are basically just called chewy apple bars, I think. I made them with freshly milled flour, even though the recipe called for all-purpose, so I just used soft white wheat. And you basically just make the crust. It has quite a bit of butter in it, so that's what makes it stick together. And then there's an apple mixture in the middle, and then there is more crumble on top.
There's a mirror in here, remember?
Oh yeah.
I did that in cheeks.
Your cheeks?
Yeah.
And then you just bake it. I can't remember what I baked it at, but they are so good. I will say we cut into them right away because it was snack time and we were just impatient, but I would highly recommend letting them cool completely and then even refrigerating them, because I brought them to our lake cabin over the weekend and oh my goodness, everybody loved them. They got so much better when they were chilled. So I would literally eat them chilled. That's probably the best way. But they're delicious either way. So like I said, I'll have that recipe linked down below for you. So I just wanted to encourage you in this video, if you're like me and keeping a reasonably tidy home is important to you, getting nourishing, mostly from scratch meals on the table is important to you, and tending to your family well, if that requires a lot of you, most of you, I think that that is perfectly okay. I think that people used to live that way a lot more, and lots of people were home in the neighborhoods, and so there was more of the socialization in that aspect. And even so, I've thought about this since I started staying home. I used to work full time, and I would get a lot of my socialization needs met at work, even though a lot of those relationships, they're almost non-existent at this point because of anything that has happened or anything. It's just that you don't see those people, on a daily basis anymore. And it has really made me think about, what does socialization actually mean? What is actual meaningful community? And yeah, I just realized that I used to quote unquote get that from work, but it was also super draining in not always the best way, because you're having to interact with all sorts of different people that some of them are like you, some of them are not, and that's totally fine. It's just that it's not always, a relationship that you may pursue otherwise, if that makes sense. So I don't know, it's challenging, but I do want to encourage you that it is okay if your home is requiring a lot of you. And I think for those of us who are more introverted, that's just the nature of it. And I think we can lean into it a little bit, so long as we do make sure that we're not isolating ourselves. Isolation is obviously not good, and that I think should be avoided. But I wanted to encourage you today. I hope that you found some inspiration and encouragement. I will have both of these recipes linked down below. The homestead pie one is, I don't think there's an actual recipe. I can't remember. I do a rendition of it from Jill Winger, and then this one with the apple bars, I will link that exact one down below for you.